Hello and welcome to the Yolda Backlap's hobby video. Something a bit different this time. This is my Lion L. Johnson model for 40k. It's obviously not official GW. It's not even the Forge World model. I'm not a big fan of the Forge World model, so I didn't want to get him. So this is a third party 3D printed model. Obviously it's not called Lion L. Johnson. It's not IP theft because this is just a model someone's made. I'm calling it Lion L. Johnson. It's a proxy, really. This is printed by Merks Resin Relics, sponsor the channel. The quality is fantastic. The detail is amazing. It's just coming around to this pauldron, and the detail on that was just insane. And the detail on the lion actually on the back is brilliant as well. Really interesting to paint. Really fun to paint. I actually used my wet palette for the first time on this one. I never used a wet palette before. I used to just paint straight from the pot. But I really wanted to make sure I did this guy justice, really. So I experimented with a wet palette and then used it properly on him, and I'm never going to go back. So much better. So you can see the details on it. Some of them are so fine I couldn't actually paint them. They were so fine. But really fun model to paint. A real challenge. Really enjoyed painting him. That's my cat's now gonna make a lot of noise going out of the cat flap. That's gone. But I possibly could have done a bit more like the cloak. I probably could have highlighted it again, but I just ran out of steam with him a little bit. Bits of the red I highlighted up to a light orange to try and really make it pop. I still dry brushed a little bit like I did with my other Dark Angels, and I probably could have done it better, but I still wanted him to look like the rest of the army, so some of it is still dry brushed. But actually I did a lot less dry brushing on him than I've done on the rest of the army. But he was really fun to paint, and I've got to give Mark credit. He did a great job printing it. It fitted together perfectly as well. Just brilliant. And the base was Mark printed for me as well, which is really nice, all really solid. It really makes him stand apart. He will hopefully be a very nice centerpiece for my Dark Angels, which are just over 10,000 points now, and I'll do a separate video on that. But I also thought I'd create some rules for him. I tried to make him a similar kind of power level to Gilliman, with a slightly different focus. Like Gilliman is obviously like this statesman and tactician. He's very almost like a supporting role Primarch, whereas I wanted him to kind of lead from the front. Not that Gilliman doesn't lead from the front, but I wanted him to be he's still a tactical genius, and one of his abilities is called that, but I wanted to be less of a kind of supporting model and actually be quite brutal in combat as well. So I've put him at about 400 points. I haven't done power levels, never use it. But anyway, here's what I've got him. I've got this move 8, weapon skill 2, bliss skill 2, same as Gilliman, strength 7, I think it's higher than Gilliman, toughness 6, 9 wounds, 8 attacks, leadership 10, and 2+ save. That's fairly sort of. So I think he's got 1 more attack than Gilliman, but one more strength. But so which is basically why he's more expensive. And then he's got a whole range of abilities, loads of stuff I've given him. The Lion, so if you're like Battleforge, he has to be the Warlord, and he has to be the Warlord even if there's other models that have the same rules, so he just has to be a Warlord. Tactical Genius, friendly Dark Angels units within 6 inches, and obviously you'd change that to have the like chapter keyword if you're using him in a successor chapter. But friendly Dark Angels units within 6 inches benefit from all 3 combat doctrines. Combat doctrines apply as normal to all other units. So when I wanted him to, I did that because I wanted it to be like he gets the best out of all his models, no matter what their specification is. So that's quite a fun one. I haven't used him yet, so I don't know how all this works. And then he's got exactly the same ability as Gilliman actually, which is Primarch of the First Legion. So you can reroll hits for friendly Dark Angels, core and characters within 6, and reroll wound rolls of 1 for friendly Dark Angels core within 6. That's exactly the same as the Gilliman ability. I want it to be the same. Then he's got Armour of the Lion. So the one has a 4+ in run, not a 3+, like Gilliman has. But he halves all damage, rounding up. I think I want to be rounding up. So 3 damage becomes 2 and 4 damage becomes 2. So, but he also has a 3+ save versus mortal. So basically you can shrug mortal wounds on a 3+ as well. And he's got an ability called the Companions. It was like a 30k thing, so what I've run it as is company veterans included in the same detachment gain the Deathwing keyword. All other eligible units gain Deathwing without paying the points cost. So it's quite a big thing. So Dreadnoughts can take it. Land Raiders, Storm Ravens, anything that can carry Terminators can gain the Deathwing keyword without having to pay for it, which I think is quite cool. Got an ability called Supreme Leader. So whilst this model is alive, Dark Angel units never take morale tests for any reason, and all counts having a leadership of 10. So as long as he's on the board, they never take a test. And then he's got Eternal Watchers, so he's accompanied by 2 Watchers in the Dark. It's exactly the same. They have the exact same rules as Watchers normally do for Terminators. So he's got 2 denies basically. And then his 2 weapons, his pistol and his sword. So his pistol's called Lion's Roar, range 18, pistol 2, strength 8, -4, 2 damage. So kind of fairly standard plasma pistol on overcharge, but without the risk of taking any damage. But also it's got an extra ability that damage from this weapon cannot be ignored or modified. So basically you always take 2 damage. And then Lion's Sword, melee, strength +2, -4, 3 damage, and you can't take in run saves against it as well. And then he's got the category, the keyword, he's got obviously got Astartes, Lionel Johnson, Dark Angels, Imperium, Monster, Character, Deathwing, Ravenwing, Lord of War, Inner Circle, Primarch, and it's also got the Infantry keyword, even though it's also got Monster. The reason he has that is if there's the Infantry keyword and the Deathwing keyword, he can't be wounded or better than a 4+. So, which I wanted him to have. I wanted him to be as tough as normal Deathwing. And then there's Warlord trait. Because I think he should be able to adapt to whoever he's fighting against. He can pick any Warlord trait from the Dark Angels Codex. He can't pick one from the Standard Spaceman Codex or from the rulebook, but he can take any one from the Dark Angels Codex, which is quite, gives you a bit of choice with him, which I think is cool. So he's a real tank. He's really, really tough, and we'll hopefully have a game with him soon. Probably some kind of custom scenario rather than the match play, because it doesn't seem to make sense to play him in match play. But yeah, so there he is, and those are the rules for him. I'll try and put up a photo. I'll put up a photo of the rules at the end as well. It's just my scrawling, but I'll do a photo of it so you can see them as well, rather than just hearing me talk about them. The only thing I'd say is that I think I've changed it. I've changed a couple of bits on the bits I've written, to take what I've said rather than what I've written as the rules I've created. But like I say, you'll see a battle report with him in quite soon, to see what he plays like. Thanks again to Mark from Merks Resin Relics for printing it at a much lower cost than Forge World. He was well packed and everything as well, so he just looks absolutely brilliant. So yeah, there he is, Lionel Johnson, Primarch of the Dark Angels.